Hello. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make another video recently. It's been about 2 weeks, and I know that I said I'd update pretty regularly, but I have been pretty busy over Christmas. Busy playing games, but you know. So the book that I have today is this. It's by Francis Leopold McClintock. It's called The Voyage of the Fox in the Arctic Seas, a narrative of the discovery of Sir John Franklin and his companions. And it's published by Elebron Classics. I think that's how it is. So my book, my personal book that I've written, Arctic Odyssey, is about an expedition in 1848 that goes into the Arctic to look for Sir John Franklin's expedition. And the prologue and epilogue are in McClintock's viewpoint, the guy who wrote this book. He goes on to have a very distinguished career, but in 1858 and 1859, he's looking for Sir John Franklin and his men. He doesn't find them alive. He does find, however, a lot of their artifacts and skeletons. His group is probably the most important one to ever have gone looking for Franklin, because not only did they find the iconic McClintock boat place, which is a boat turned towards the Arctic, back north, with two skeletons in it. Both of them are headless, and they have a bunch of really weird stuff, like a French New Testament when they're British sailors, 5 gold watches, and 40 pounds of uneaten chocolate, even though the people seem to have died of starvation or exposure. So overall, it's a very weird sight, but it's very educational. But that pales in comparison to what his second-in-command found. So Lieutenant William Hobson is his second-in-command, and Hobson finds the Victory Point Note. And the Victory Point Note is the only written communication that we have with the expedition that is like completely intact, that is directed to the people looking for them. Now, it basically says, it doesn't do a lot. It says that, well, Franklin died on this day. It says Gore died as well. In total, I think there's 109 survivors, and they're commanded by Francis Crozier, and they're basically going south to Baxfish River. That's really all it says. But the fact that we have that is a miracle in and of itself, because it was very well concealed and everything, and the odds of any written material from them surviving is very low anyway. So I'm very glad that we got that, because those bare bones are what the Franklin expedition researchers for the past couple centuries have been using to base their investigations on. So this book details that. It details the finding of the Victory Point Note, and I read it on a flight. Well, I read most of it on a flight, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I used this book as a source of how I wrote my own book and how I wrote my prologue and epilogue in McClintock's viewpoint. He's a very interesting guy. McClintock, when he's captain of the Fox, which has about 18 men, that's when he goes on this expedition to look for Franklin and them. But he later on becomes an admiral. I think it's a rear admiral, and he commands the West Indies station. He's the commander of that station, which is a very important position. And I believe he succeeds in that role another Franklin researcher. So that's just a little trivia. Let's see here. I think there's a map somewhere. Yeah. Not a map, but a picture. This is the ships. That's the Fox in the Arctic Sea. Fox is a very small ship. It's a yacht, actually. He was commissioned by Lady Jane Franklin, who for like 20 or 30 years spent searching for her husband, and she spent a fortune, and everybody in England loved her for that, you know. I'm not going much into the book because, I have to mention, the font is a little bit weird. I don't like that very much. I think it's just a direct copy over from the original, like, text or his handwriting, maybe. It's a little too clean for handwriting, but anyway, it's a very old book. So I like this book specifically, not because it's any great writing, even though it is. I think the guy's a good writer. I don't think he's a great writer. I love it purely because of its historical significance to my favorite niche topics, and I promised that I wouldn't be doing like all the very popular books on this channel, because you could go to a lot better channels for those, and people like Wendigoon or whatever are never going to cover this, even though he, I'm going to take a bit to talk about his Franklin expedition video. It's not that great. He goes into a lot of rumors and stuff that probably aren't even true, like the myth that Crozier was walking out as late as 1858. No, he was dead, dude. Like, he was dead in bones by 1858. But anyway, I just think you guys should buy this. I got it at Half Price Books as usual. Um, it ends with, let me see. Cannot remember. Yeah, it ends with letters from Palmerston to Lady Franklin, and it also ends with a couple messages from McClintock himself. If you guys value history, if you want to learn something new about a pretty niche topic that not a lot of people know about, if you just want to broaden your horizons about Arctic exploration or anything, I would really recommend this book. It's a great series. That's about it. See you later.